Hola Bafetu, welcome back. Welcome to Dibalen Football Channel, Kaizer Chiefs Football Channel. Football from the fans' perspective, and yeah, we speak Kaizer Chiefs, and we are doing a season wrap up. It's been a very tough season for Kaizer Chiefs. It's been a long season for us, Kaizer Chiefs as fans, for the club and everyone that is associated with Kaizer Chiefs, and for players. I can imagine how this season has been so long for players. It's been an unending season, to be honest, and the fact that we've made it and we've finished this season, it's just a relief on my shoulders. And the channel, you remember the channel? We started the channel in the beginning of the season, and throughout the season we've been crying in this channel. We've been complaining. There's not been a nice campaign for Kaizer Chiefs, but the fact that we made it to this point, we decided, you know what, let's do a wrap up. And there's a lot of things to look at. There's a lot of business that is happening in Naturen right now that I think we need to speak about, but not for this video. We're going to speak about it, you know, on uploads that are coming. But yeah, season wrap up, and longest season ever. If you're new in the channel, please let us subscribe. Let us turn on the notification button. And if you enjoy the video, let us give it a thumbs up. And yeah, we're good to go. 30 games we played in PSL. Only 8 wins we managed, 12 draws, and 10 losses. It's been a tough one. We recorded the lowest points this season. Remember, I think the coach to record the lowest points was Solinas. And Gavin Hunt came in, he broke the records, just smashed the records. And Gavin Hunt is a man of records, broke other records, also positive records, also broke, you know, negative records. It's been a tough one. We knew that was going to be a tough season, to be honest. For when we finished second in the last top of the log last season, if you remember, and then on the last day of the log we lost it. We finished second, and we knew that we're entering this season with players that are psychologically, you know, damaged, and it's just not gonna be good for the team. You need your players to be psychologically in the mood to compete, to know and to believe that they can win something. And when we lost that league in the last day of the competition, it was a mess. All of us, in fact, most of us understood and knew that this might be a very bad season. But because the team brought in Gavin Hunt, the club brought Gavin Hunt, we thought, you know what, because there's a man that is experienced, in PSL football, experienced in winning cups and stuff like that, we might salvage something. And it was not going to happen. It didn't happen. And we saw it in the beginning of the season when we started with Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates, when we were thrashed by Orlando Pirates, thrashed by Mamelodi Sundowns, and things, we just saw that things were not going, you know, to go well. The game against Black Leopards, the mistakes that were committed in the game against Black Leopards, the mistakes were committed against SuperSport at the beginning of the season, there were indications that this season is not going to be for Kaizer Chiefs. Also, another thing that contributed was the fact that we cannot add players. Mamelodi Sundowns brought in players, Orlando Pirates brought in players, other teams also boosted their squads. Kaizer Chiefs couldn't do that. We struggled a lot. The CAF transfer ban was just, the FIFA transfer ban was just heavy on Kaizer Chiefs, and we sort of accepted it, and we sort of, you know, owned it that we don't have quality players, we can't bring in quality players, therefore we cannot, you know, compete. And the fact, you know, by the way, and the fact that, you know, we had a crop of players that were used to playing against Ernest Middendorp. The football under Ernest Middendorp was just a terrible one. We couldn't survive it. And those players were already, you know, used to those drills, used to that kind of football under Ernest Middendorp. And Gavin Hunt inherited that. Inherited psychologically damaged players, low quality, we couldn't add anyone. And the fact that, you know, they were already used to the culture of long balls and stuff like that. So it was bound to be a bad one. It was a painful journey for us, to be honest. Painful journey for fans. Fans of Kaizer Chiefs even had to march. I was skeptical of the march, but the fact that fans went to march, it showed that there's just things are not going well. And fans of Kaizer Chiefs were not, you know, taking it. I was able to come here and rant out and stuff like that. But other fans felt, you know what, they need to go to Naturena. They need to make their views heard. But yeah, we made it, man. And And yeah, the first thing that we need to speak about is the downs of this season. In fact, there's more downs of this season than the ups. There are ups in this season. There's a lot of positives, in fact, that we can take out of this season. Even though it's worst season ever, but there are positive stuff. But let's start with the negative stuff. First, the losses, man. They were just unacceptable. Losses against Orlando Pirates, against Mamelodi Sundowns, and the way we lost against small teams, it was just unacceptable. It was bad. Every time, each and every week, there's something bad to report. There's something bad to speak about in football as Kaizer Chiefs fans. And those losses, they didn't do us well psychologically. They affected our mood as Kaizer Chiefs fans. They affected my mood personally. I could wake up in the morning, I just have a very grumpy one because the team is just not doing well. The second thing was that the inconsistencies. That's where the problem, I think, something that frustrated me more than anything was the inconsistencies in our team. First, this game, we play this good, and you see that there are glimpses of a positive team who can build something around certain players, and then come next game, you are shocked. Whatever happens the next game, we don't know where it came from. We don't know what happened to the previous energy. All of a sudden, everything just drops. If it's not game per game, it's just in one game, one half, you see this kind of Kaizer Chiefs. The second half, you see another Kaizer Chiefs, and those were things that were frustrating. The last thing that frustrated me and that frustrated everyone, and that has been the problem even from last season, is the question around the play, the football in Kaizer Chiefs, the brand of football. So there's one thing to lose when you see your team playing football, combining passes, skillful players blended with players that can do the job, that can be rough and stuff like that. The way of Kaizer Chiefs. And it is another thing to watch Kaizer Chiefs and the match is just so unattractive. The match is just difficult to watch. You can't even analyze, you can't tell what is happening in the match. That's one thing. The next thing, Kaizer Chiefs cannot combine 2 passes, cannot combine 3 passes. That was very frustrating. That has been frustrating, to be honest. And yeah, it's over, man. It's over, man. But we survived it. Gavin Hunt, according to me, Gavin Hunt was failing the team. Gavin Hunt is a very good coach, a reputable coach, but he was not a good coach for Kaizer Chiefs. I called it in the middle of the season. In the beginning of the season, I supported him. And that is what a fan should do. That's what I expect from all fans of Kaizer Chiefs, that when there's a coach brought in, we need to support them. Otherwise, what's the purpose of being a fan? But yeah, man, players were not playing for him. I just couldn't see it. Players were not playing for him. Players were nervous under Gavin Hunt. Most of the time under Gavin Hunt, players were very nervous. The young players were panicking. The old players, the senior guys were panicking. You could see it in Manyama. You could see it in the defense of Kaizer Chiefs. You could see the defense of Kaizer Chiefs. A lot of panics in the defense of Kaizer Chiefs. Mistakes committed. Keepers committed mistakes. Almost all keepers of Kaizer Chiefs committed mistakes this season. Almost all defenders committed mistakes. The strikers were not scoring. They committed mistakes. Gavin Hunt, when arrived in the beginning of the season, he said, made excuses that we cannot sign players. We do not have, players. Our players were injured. Nukovic was injured. There was an issue of the contract as well. Castro was injured. Billiard was injured. Kune had injuries together with this guy, Akpay. And those guys came back. When they came back, still we couldn't win any game. There was no change in the camp. There was just no change in the camp, and we struggled. The end of the season, 2 games left. Kaizer Chiefs decides to sack him, and yeah, the decision that was supposed to have been taken long ago, and it was a good decision. Besides being a good decision, it was a decision that had to be taken logically, because you can't lose so many games. You can't have such a record and you are still kept in the team. Otherwise, what are we doing? Well, there's no point in keeping a coach that has bad stats. That's how football works. The stats are bad, the football is bad, and the mood of the players is just not positive. That he had to be sacked. The guys took over. Dylan Shepard and Athazwan, we need to give credit to them. A lot of credit to them. A lot of people can say they don't deserve it, but I think they do. The last 2 games, if Gavin Hunt was there, we could have lost them. The game against Golden Arrows, you could see different mood within the players, different way of playing, matured way of playing. Manyama, all of a sudden, back. It was one of the worst performances of Manyama this season. But he was back, gave us a hat trick, much needed hat trick. And we know Manyama, we know his capabilities, we know him, the former player of the season, player who played for Ajax, Cape Town City, Supersport, with the experience and all that. And the guy, all of a sudden, we start looking at him, we're thinking this is the worst player Kaizer Chiefs has brought in and stuff like that, which was not the case. And the boy proved it. And yeah, we made it into the top 8 on the last day of the log. And that was sweet, to be honest. We know a lot of fans, a lot of opposition and noisy neighbors, they were waiting. They were really rooting for us not making it into the top 8. And it was going to be the topic of the year. And yes, thanks to Athazwane, thanks to Dylan Shepard, a huge favor. You did a lot for us. You did a lot for Kaizer Chiefs. And if anything, even now that they are bringing a new coach, and we don't know whether they're going to take them in, they're still going to retain Athazwane and Dylan Shepard, we don't know. But if they do, if they don't, still, these guys will just, that's a message from me. I don't know other fans. We thank you a lot. You did a lot for Kaizer Chiefs. You did something that other, government failed to do in the past 28 games. So, with your heads high, you guys did a lot for Kaizer Chiefs. You have achieved for Kaizer Chiefs, and we thank you for that. I'll forever be grateful. And the Galaxy game, man, the way they managed the game against Galaxy, a scrappy game, very bad game, was not good to watch, was an ugly game, but the way the game was managed, it showed a lot of maturity around these guys. The fighting spirit amongst the players, the changes that were made, something that we didn't see the whole season under Kevin Hunt. Bad decision making, time and again. But yeah, Dylan Shepard, they proved that these guys can be good coaches. These guys, given an opportunity, they can be good coaches. I hope Kaizer Chiefs is gonna, blend them in with the new coach and continue with them. And then there are positives, man. There's positives. The positive number one is that the season is over. Yeah, the struggles are over, the painful moments are over, and I'm very happy. That's the positive number one. Positive number two is the contribution by the young boys. Contribution by the young boys of Kaizer Chiefs this season. They carried the team, they fought for the team. These guys grew up in Kaizer Chiefs. They are development guys. They are fans of Kaizer Chiefs. Develop players from the development are fans of the club. Unlike players that you buy, there's monies, there's contracts and stuff like that. The guys that you get from the development, they will have to put in a shift for Kaizer Chiefs. And they fought. Darryl Macheke, I must mention Darryl Macheke, Njabulo Blom, Bruce Buvuma, and Ngezana fought this season. Njabulo Blom much improved. Improvement, a lot of improvement, and Njabulo Blom is included now in the senior national team, and that's credit. You say your team is not doing well, you are a youngster, and you prove with your character you can fight for the team. And yeah, congratulations to the boy Njabulo Blom, and the young guys did a lot for Kaizer Chiefs. I want to appreciate them. If the team is not going to have players, awards and stuff like that, which is very much understandable, these guys deserve something, deserve something coming to them. Njabulo Blom wasn't playing about Darryl Macheke, the young guys, all the young guys, man. Bruce Buvuma, they did a lot for Kaizer Chiefs, and we appreciate that. Another one that we need to speak about is the top 8. As much as yes, we shouldn't celebrate top 8, the fact that we are in the top 8, we've saved us, ourselves from that embarrassment. It's a positive for me. Another positive. I'm going to finish with the biggest positive. I'm going to finish with the one that I think is the most important. Another positive that is important, that this is much important, is the progress that we made in CAF Champions League. We're still in CAF. Other teams are resting. Small teams are resting. The big team is still preparing for CAF competition, for Champions League competition in the semi-finals. And that's what we're talking about. That's Kaizer Chiefs for you. That's a big team. That's what a big team does. And yeah, credit to Kaizer Chiefs. Credit to Kaizer Chiefs. I hope we're gonna take this CAF thing serious. I hope there's a lot of money, cash in terms of money, but also in terms of the history of the club, in terms of the reputation of the club, to make it into the CAF Champions League. It's very much important. The last important, the last important positive out of this club, out of this season, is the fans of Kaizer Chiefs. The fans of Kaizer Chiefs, the support that we've given the club is so massive, man. This is a season where you expect fans to throw in the towel, some of them to swap the floors. Apparently nowadays people can do that. You see people who were Kaizer Chiefs now, they are, all of a sudden they are Mamelodi Sundowns fans. You just don't know how that works. I don't know if that could work for me. In fact, it will never work. In football, once I support Kaizer Chiefs, I support Chelsea, it stays like that. If Chelsea and Kaizer Chiefs get relegated, I go with Kaizer Chiefs and Chelsea into the lower divisions. And the fans of Kaizer Chiefs this season, the match to Naturena showed the love, but besides that, man, we defended the team on social media, we supported the team on Twitter, supported the team on Facebook, supported the team everywhere. And I said, if you remember, in one of my videos, that these things that we do on social media, they do get to the players. And the positive attitude from the players, from the fans, will definitely affect, the players' performances and their mentality. And big ups to the fans of Kaizer Chiefs, man. We never gave up to this club. We never gave up to the boys. We kept on supporting them, and we'll keep on doing so. We'll keep on doing so, and that's it. That is what it means to be a fan. When the team is not doing well, we stick with the club. We stick with the boys. We show support, to show our concern, and yeah, credit to the fans, and yeah, I'd like to hear from you. What is it that you think about this season? And yeah, what are your positives? For sure, you have identified positives, and what are your negatives? And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next season. Looking forward to the new signings that are made in Kaizer Chiefs. They're bringing in of a new coach, Stuart Baxter. Otherwise, yeah, we're going to make a video. We're going to speak about the new signings. We'll speak about the new coach, and we'll have our views. Otherwise, from me, Dibalen Football Channel, Kaizer Chiefs Football Channel. Football from the fans' perspective. It is love, and yeah, it is peace at last.